The candlelight flickered across the white tablecloth as Alexander Crane sat in the elegant restaurant, trying to focus on the woman across from him rather than his 6-year-old daughter sitting between them. At 35, Alexander had built Crane Industries into a technology empire worth billions. But he had never mastered the art of the blind date, especially with his daughter as an unexpected chaperone. His nanny had called in sick at the last minute, and Alexander had no one else to watch Emma. He had tried to cancel the date his assistant had arranged, but the woman had insisted it was fine to bring his daughter. Alexander had been skeptical, but here they were. The woman across from him was exactly what he had expected. Polished, sophisticated, wearing designer clothes and discussing her career in corporate law with practiced ease. She was attractive and intelligent, checking all the boxes his assistant had promised. But there was something missing, something Alexander could not quite name. Emma, however, was not impressed. She had been unusually quiet throughout dinner, barely touching her food, watching the woman with the solemn assessment, "Only children possess." And then the merger went through, the woman was saying, which positioned me perfectly for partnership consideration. Of course, billable hours are everything at my level. Alexander nodded politely, but his attention had been caught by their server, who was approaching with dessert menus. She was young, perhaps late 20s, with blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail and an elegance that transcended her simple uniform. More importantly, she had been kind to Emma all evening, remembering her name, bringing her crayons without being asked, checking on her with genuine warmth rather than the polite tolerance most people showed children. "Good evening," the server said with a warm smile. "Can I interest anyone in dessert? We have a chocolate lava cake that's absolutely wonderful." Emma's face lit up for the first time all evening. "Can I have that, Daddy, please?" "Of course, sweetheart," Alexander said, then looked at the server. Her name tag read Clara. "One chocolate lava cake for my daughter, and perhaps you could recommend something for the adults." "The creme brulee is exceptional," Clara said. "And we have a tart that's not too sweet if you prefer something lighter." His date waved her hand dismissively. "I don't eat dessert. Too many calories." Clara's smile never wavered, but Alexander saw something flicker in her eyes, a brief sadness that made him wonder about her story. "Just the lava cake, then," Alexander said. "Thank you, Clara." As Clara walked away, Emma tugged on Alexander's sleeve. "Daddy, she's nice. The pretty waitress lady is really nice." "She is nice," Alexander agreed. "Unlike some people," Emma added, looking pointedly at his date. "Emma," Alexander said, mortified, but his daughter was not finished. "She didn't even ask my name," Emma said, "and she talked the whole time about boring stuff. The waitress lady asked me about my drawings and said I was a good artist." Alexander's date looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, I'm not really good with children. I don't have much experience." "That's okay," Emma said with brutal childhood honesty. "You're not very good with grown-ups either. You only talked about yourself." Alexander wanted to disappear under the table. "Emma, that's not polite," but his daughter was on a mission. When Clara returned with the lava cake, Emma looked up at her with the kind of hope that only children can project with such intensity. "Are you married?" Emma asked. Clara looked startled. "I'm sorry?" "Emma, you can't ask people that," Alexander said, his face burning. "Why not?" Emma said. "Aunt Rachel says Daddy needs to find someone nice to marry, and you're nice. Are you married?" Clara's cheeks turned pink, but she smiled. "No, I'm not married. Do you like kids?" Emma pressed. "I love children," Clara said honestly. "I work at a daycare during the day. This is my evening job." "2 jobs?" Alexander asked, concerned despite himself. "3, actually," Clara admitted. "I'm also taking online classes to finish my degree. It keeps me busy, but I'm managing." Alexander felt something shift inside his chest. This woman working 3 jobs, going to school, still finding the energy to be genuinely kind to a 6-year-old she had never met before. His date checked her phone. "I should probably go. Early meeting tomorrow. It was nice meeting you, Alexander. Perhaps we can do this again without the child present." She left without saying goodbye to Emma, and Alexander felt relief wash over him. "Good," Emma said. "I didn't like her anyway." She turned to Clara, who was clearing plates. "Do you have to work much longer?" Just another hour, Clara said gently. Can you sit with us? Emma asked. Just for a minute, please. Emma, Clara is working, Alexander said. We can't keep her from her job. Actually, it's slow tonight, Clara said. My manager won't mind if I take a short break. If you'd like the company, yes, Emma said enthusiastically. Sit here where the boring lady was sitting. Clara laughed and slid into the chair, and Alexander found himself relaxing for the first time all evening. They talked easily, Clara sharing stories from the daycare that made Emma giggle, asking Alexander about his work with genuine curiosity rather than calculating interest. What are you studying? Alexander asked. Early childhood education, Clara said. I want to be a teacher. It doesn't pay much, but I love working with kids. They're honest and funny, and they see the world in ways adults forget to appreciate. Emma was watching Clara with adoring eyes. Daddy, can we keep her? Emma! Alexander said, mortified again. But Clara just laughed. I'm not a puppy, sweetheart, Clara said gently. But you're perfect, Emma insisted. You're nice and pretty, and you like kids, and you make Daddy smile. He never smiles with the other ladies. Alexander met Clara's eyes across the table and saw his own surprise reflected back. I'm so sorry, he said. She's very direct. I like direct, Clara said. It's refreshing. She glanced at her watch. I should get back to work. But this was lovely. Thank you for brightening my evening. Wait, Alexander said impulsively. Would you consider having coffee with me? Without me being a customer and you being my server. Just two people getting to know each other. Clara hesitated. I don't know if that's a good idea. We're from very different worlds. What if we're not as different as you think? Alexander said. What if we both value the same things? Kindness, honesty, hard work. What if the differences between our circumstances matter less than the similarities in our values? And I'll be there too, Emma added helpfully. We're a package deal. Clara smiled, tears shimmering in her eyes. Okay, coffee sounds nice. Over the following months, Alexander and Emma became regular fixtures in Clara's life. He helped her finish her degree by setting up a scholarship she could accept without pride getting in the way. He showed up at the daycare where she worked, watching her with children and falling more in love every day. Emma appointed herself official matchmaker, constantly engineering situations to push them together. Clara brought joy and laughter back into their lives, teaching Alexander that success measured in dollars meant nothing compared to success measured in moments of connection. She showed Emma that kindness costs nothing but means everything, and she proved to them both that sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with a child's innocent question and a willingness to see beyond surface differences to the person underneath. A year after that blind date, Alexander proposed to Clara not in a fancy restaurant but at the daycare where she worked, with Emma and 24 children as witnesses. He offered her a ring that cost more than she made in a year. But what really made her cry was Emma's handmade card that said simply, "We're keeping you forever." Sometimes the people we need most come into our lives in unexpected ways, serving dessert and showing kindness when we've forgotten what it looks like. And sometimes the wisdom of a child is wiser than all our carefully constructed plans, seeing with perfect clarity what we've been too blind to notice. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of unexpected love, children's wisdom, and finding happiness in the most surprising places. Comment below and share about a time when a child's honesty changed your perspective, or when you found love where you least expected it. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs today.